Hello, welcome back to my channel. I've got a completely random selection of all sorts today to show you. So I thought I would leave them here just like this so you could see everything. And then I'm going to clear it off so you can actually see what it is we're looking at. So I'll just move all of these now to the side. I'm going to try and leave them in some kind of order so that I can remember what it is that I'm actually going to be talking about. Oh my goodness me. Right, so we'll start with these, which are some little Gayle Agostinelli. I can't even remember what she called them, but I will link this down below. And I won't show you all of them because they're all basically the same. They're all checks, you know, mini checks that you can get, the digital ones, except this one, which was a well, it was called a bookmark, but really it was like an old postage, the top of the postage of a letter. But these, as you can see, were all like little checks. I'll just pick one. I'll pick this one. I've used twine and thin twine and some eyelash trim to seal them, but they're quite flat, which is quite good when you're trying to stuff your journals. I'll just undo this, just a little bow, which is obviously sealed with an eyelet. If I open this out, you can definitely see the check, you see? So it's a vintage check. Does it say what year this was? I think it was 28th of February 1913. This is a French one. Anyway, so that's how the printable is. You print it off and then you just fold it obviously like that, and a little one there. Pop your eyelet on and then something which goes all the way around to tie it up. But inside is little pages. I've got a feeling, is this one I haven't sewn? I think I was planning on sewing this like a normal journal, just sewing it down there. I think that was my plan, but I just haven't quite got round to it. But I mean, you could just glue it in really, or staple it, or just leave it as it is. But it's just all different random scraps of paper, and it's just something really lovely to pop into your journal. Like that could go, for example, into a pocket, or you could glue it to a page, or glue 3 sides and then have a tuck. But that was my first idea, and I will link it down below. It'll be whatever I've listed Gayle Agostinelli under. Okay, so that'll be hers. These are all random things. There's like ephemera and all sorts. This is something I just have not seen anywhere, and I just adore these. This is actually from the Graphics Fairy. I don't know whether you'll be able to see that, but that's where it's from, the Graphics Fairy. Can you believe it that these are actually free? I just cannot believe what you can get on there. I'm going to bring this in just as a little to explain. So say you had a really, well, we'll pick here. It doesn't really matter where you put it. Anyway, what you do, oh, you might know they're stuck together now. You would pop that into there, like say that. And then when you close your book, look at that. You've got like little butterflies sticking out the top. I just love this idea. You can also put several in. Let's stick that one there, say. And then look at that. It's just another thing to decorate the tops of your journals, or to decorate your journal rather. So it can be a bookmark. I think that's what they were originally used. Yeah, vintage butterfly bookmarks. But obviously in your journals, I mean, we often dingle-dangle things off the end, off the sides here. But I thought, oh, how lovely to have little butterflies sticking out the top of your book. I really loved that idea. So that was another idea, the Graphics Fairy. And like I said, they actually come like this. They're on an A4 sheet of paper. You basically just cut them out, fold them up. I think I've already glued these, otherwise I'd... Oh, here's one that I haven't. So you cut it out, fold it up. That makes obviously the bottom of the butterfly, and then you get the spare butterflies like there, and you just glue that to the top. So that's how they work. Goodness knows whether I was in frame doing that. I don't really like moving about, but anyway. So that's the Graphics Fairy. But I love those sticking out the top of your journals. These are from Ruby and Pearl. Yeah, Ruby&Pearlxo, and these are called French ribbon pockets, and I love these. You get old book, back it with some coffee dye, which just instantly gives it a gorgeous sound and feel. Rough the edges, sew round roughly, you know, and then you pop in fabric on the bottom, which will be your tuck there. Let's pretend that that was a journal card. You'd pop a journal card in there, and then that would go on your page. I will link that idea down below. I really love these. I think they just look instantly lovely in a journal. So that's that one. Then these are kind of a variation on a theme. Just check I've got them all in here. Yes, I have. Right. These I saw on Junk Journal Treasures. I will try to link these down below as well. And these are scrappy notepads, but these, I mean, just look how thin they are. So when you're decorating up your journal, this is really important, I think, that you don't put thick things in, because soon your journal just becomes like an alligator mouth. But if you could put thin decorations in, it's great. So I love these. So these two were Junk Journal Treasures, and basically it's a scrappy like notepad you use off cuts or things you've got, or just, you know, cut them smaller. Then you have a base plate which you pop like a band of the same on, a bit like a belly band. Pop the bottom of your little scrappy notepad through there. Put your lace across the top of your papers, and then that is what sticks to, I should have brought one but I haven't, to a journal page. And that is a really lovely idea. There's just a bigger one there. And then I thought, well, actually, do you really need it on a base? Sometimes these are fine to just put in pockets themselves. So then I went ahead and just made the scrappy pads. They're obviously stapled, but without making, you know, the base for them. So these could just go in as they are. And again, they're just super thin. So that was that idea. And then while I was looking at scrappy pads, I had a bit of a fad on scrappy pads recently. I came across this idea. I can't remember off the top of my head whose idea this was, but I will try and link them down below. But you basically take some sort of pretty book page. In this case, I'd obviously use the purple book page. And then again, just still scraps, you know, rip the edges, just different sorts, whites, different tones, beiges, coffee, dyed. That's an old sewing pattern, but paper, so I coffee dyed it. Squared paper, there's a bit of embossed paper, a bit of pearlescent. And then you pop, what did we do now? Let me think. That's right, you pop a piece of paper around there, put your 2 holes in, and then just tie them up like that. But again, they're super duper thin as well for going into pockets. But you know, whoever had the journal, look at all the journaling space you've got there, but without having to take up loads of space. You know, there's no thickness to it. So that's another idea. And then my final thing, that's what I said, it's very eclectic, but my final thing is I've had quite a fad on Tsunami Rose's videos. I've really been binge watching her projects, and I love her franking paper. So I've been making up quite a few sheets of these. I'll open these out and then you'll get an idea. You basically take a piece of paper and then you just glue with a glue stick. I'll link this below. You glue pieces of different paper, but things that you think are going to go together. Like I just love that. But equally, I love that one. I love that one. They've all got nothing to do with each other, these bits of paper. But when they're together, they just, I don't know, go. And then around each join, you just get your sewing machine and sew each one. Now, obviously, it does mean on the other side, you're left with a patchwork of that. I don't mind that, and if you were doing that in a certain style of journal, I really don't think that matters. You can still write all over it. In fact, it gives you little blocks or sections that you could write in, which I think that's quite nice. So that, and my idea for these were, they would actually be pages in a journal. So, I mean, I'm not saying you'd have all that, obviously. I wished I'd brought a piece of coffee dyed. I really should have thought, but let's pretend it was in here. You might have a piece of coffee dyed, and then you have, you know, just you have one of your franking pages and then you'd turn that and you'd have something else. So I like that. I also think they're nice as booklet ideas. So probably like, say this little one, put inside there a load of scrappy papers and then just have it as a little booklet to put in a pocket. But I love these franking pages, and I am thinking of doing a whole journal based on these. I did cut, this was an offcut, I think, off a page when I'd finished, and I instantly thought of a bookmark. So that's another idea to do with them, is bookmarks, journal cards. In fact, if you cut off that bit, these would even make tags or journaling cards, you know, if you just had just that. So they're very versatile. And then another Tsunami Rose idea, similar thing.